Hello everybody, I'm back, and today on Board Games, War Games, and Miniatures, I'm back with Nemo's War, the Ultimate Edition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in this video, I'm going to select the motive that we're going to use for the game for Nemo, and we're going to do a setup. Then we're going to start doing a playthrough. Probably I'll break it down into a couple videos. The box says 90 minutes to play this game. Now, suffice it to say, I've only played it twice. Just a real quick playthrough to get the mechanics down, and then a serious playthrough. And it took me well over 3 hours, especially with the setup and everything. Also, if you change the motive for Nemo, that's going to change the setup. So I want to film all of that. I'm going to select a motive for Nemo. We're going to do the setup, of course, for that motive. There's plenty of videos out there, most of them several years old, going through the second edition, but they haven't shown all the motives, so I may get a motive that hasn't been filmed yet. I don't know, but we'll do that. Also, there's several things. So in this, the Ultimate Edition, of course, it has all the expansions, but it has a couple things that are added to it. It does have these two ship miniatures here. I don't know if I'm ever going to use them. They aren't used in the normal game. They're used when you play competitively against someone else. I don't even know if I'm ever going to paint them. Who knows? I have some other cool, miniatures that would fit, but someday I may paint them. But right now, I'm not going to worry about them. But I do definitely want to add, what's really new to this game is Nadeen Dakkar. So this is Captain Nemo's son. So we're going to add him. He comes with several of his own cards that are added. There's, 58 new cards to this version of the game. There's some other ones here. There are some other Nadeen Dakkar things that we're going to add to the game as well. But anyways, I just want to go through the whole setup using everything I can, plus Nadeen Dakkar. So that's going to be a little bit different. Also, I'm going to show you, I did paint the Nautilus. I'll put up some close-ups here. All right, so with this, when I was looking at the Nautilus figurine, for some reason it gave me the idea of those figurines that used to come with, what was it, the Red Rose tea bags? Little ceramic figurines that were highly glossed. That gave me this idea to paint the Nautilus in that kind of fashion, but I did want it to be a little bit more colorful. As you see, I did the very light blue and greenish kind of aqua colors for the water, and then I still kept the Nautilus a dark blue. Now, the filming of this isn't great, but you can see that I tried to do, there's about 4 or 5 different colors of blue on the Nautilus there. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that, and let's go forward. Okay, talked about that a little bit. I think it looks pretty cool. So we're ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is change the angle of the camera so you can see the whole game board. We'll go through again the whole setup, selecting the, well, let's, you know what I'm going to do? Let's select the motive right now. So I've got my handy dandy dice tray. Now there are 8 different motives. There's humanist. On the back is adventure. There's science. On the back of that is war. We have explore. And on the back of that, anti-imperialism. And we have world order. And on the back of that, piracy. So let's select what motive we're going to do. There's 8 different motives. I have a D8 here. We're going to roll it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the back 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see what we come up with. And 2. And that's science. So we've already selected our motive. Our motive for the game is going to be science. I have not played the science motive yet, so this should be fun. All right, let's change the camera angle and get started. All right, everyone, let's get this game setup started. All right, where do we start? Well, first off, what I do is I lay the board down and then I separate everything. So this is everything that comes in the box, except for I didn't keep out all the different motives. We've already selected science as the motive for Nemo in this game. So we'll put those away in the box. Next, after you set everything up and separate everything, you can use the Between Voyages guide to do your setup. Let's read through it real quick. Different things that you have, of course, are the Nautilus upgrade cards. We have the character resource tiles. Also, we are going to be using Nadeen Dakkar. That's Nemo's son. Then what else do we have? We've got the treasure gemstones over there. We have our stalk and bolt attack. We have over here, I don't know if you can see it, we have our torpedo and our diplomatic attacks. We also have the Arabian Tunnel. A lot of these things you'll see as we play how they're utilized. We also have, now I separated all these. These are the victory point counters. You can use these and this track over here to keep track of your victory points. I haven't done that yet. I just think it adds a lot of extra time to the game. But I guess it is a really cool resource to use so you can kind of see where you are in victory points as you're playing. But I haven't used it yet. But I got them separated over there. Also, what else do we have? We have the adventure tokens. Now, these tokens are not used in the science motive, so we are going to get rid of those for now. Also, we have all of the treasure tokens. I just separated them, on their back so you can see the treasure symbol. Means those are treasure tokens. We have ally tokens. Now, these ally tokens are not used with the science motive, so we're going to get rid of those, get those out of the way. What do we have left? We have the Nadeen Dakkar motives and the character motives. Attribute tokens, they call them in the game. We'll be using those. What else am I going to use? I am going to use the Deadly Seas expansion. We'll explain that. I have all the ships, the warships, and the non-warships separated by color. Red, I guess that's a light orange, a darker orange, blue, green, black, yellow, and the white. We have also the uprising tokens placed there. Right now I'm just going through what we have out on the board. Versus, we don't need these cards. We are not playing the versus game. We don't need the co-op cards. We're not playing that game. Get those away in the box. And we're not playing, again, a co-op game, so we don't need the captain card there. I am going to be using the green action point tracker just because I think it looks nicer on camera. These are the notoriety track things. We're going to start placing things very shortly. The hidden ships, got cannonballs, torpedo, diplomacy. We went through these. Treasure. These ships are not used. These ships are used in the co-op or the versus. So we're not going to use those. So let's get rid of those. All right, what else do we have here? We have all our dice, 3 white, 2 black. And I've separated everything else out. These are special adventure cards for Nadeen Dakkar. We'll show you how those are used. This is the standard adventure deck. This is all the adventure cards. I have separated out the axe. You'll see how we utilize those as we go. You know, also the hollow explosion rising action. We'll show you how we build those decks. Again, these are all the Nautilus upgrade cards. I did pull out the specific upgrade for the science motive. That's monstrous design. We're going to show you how we're going to use that card. All right, that's everything. Let's start with the setup. Again, you use the Between Voyages guide to do your setup. I've taken some notes. I'm trying not to do anything wrong. I've only played it 2 times. So let's begin with the setup. First, you pick your Nemo's motive. We've already chosen science as our motive. We'll go through the victory points here. As you see, really, you're going to want to get a lot of science discovered and wonders seen, because with the science motive, you get ×6 for all these points. When you start adding up your victory points, you get ×4 for the wonders. You do get ×3 for liberation. The other ones, you don't really get too much. Treasure 0, adventure cards, you get +1. That's not bad. If you sink a non-warship, you get -1. And when you sink a warship, you just get, no additional points to that. But you still have to, of course, sink some ships along the way, or you're going to be in danger of losing the game. We'll talk about winning, how you win the game, how you lose the game as we start playing. But first, let's get into setting up the game. First, Nemo's motive. Boy, I can't say that. We have science. Second, the draw pile. How do you set up the draw pile? Well, you pull out your game setup, and right over here, draw pile preparation, it walks you right through it. The order is kind of weird. You should probably start at the bottom of the deck and go up. They start at the top and go down. But let's start with the finale. So I have already shuffled these cards. Let's shuffle them again, just for fun. All right. So you pick a finale card. The rest of the finale cards can go in the box. Next, you add 4 event cards. So right off the top, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you shuffle those together. So basically, when you get down towards the end, you realize, whoops, get back here. You realize you only have 5 cards left. The finale is going to be somewhere in those 5 cards. All right. Shuffle that up. Next, you do the Act 3 cards. Act 3, you can, and we are going to use the Nadeen Dakkar character. So what you have to do is you take he's got 2 different types of cards here. You've got Unwanted Reflections and a Family Reunion. First, you're going to take the Unwanted Reflections card. I mean, there's only 3. Just try to shuffle 3 as best you can, I guess. Don't look. Put your Nadeen adventure card down. Don't look. Put these back in the box. All right. Next, since we're doing science, the motive is science, you're going to add 6 cards. 6 adventure cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can see at least I can count up to 6. You're also going to add the rising action, a hollow explosion. That goes into that pile. And then you shuffle that all up. Don't peek. All right, we shuffled that up pretty good. Now that goes on top of this. This is your draw pile we're establishing. And on top of that, you place Act 3. So this is the second intermission. That goes on top of there. So now you kind of, once you hit that Act 3, you kind of know how many cards are remaining in the game. Now we're going to do the next step. Now in the science motive, the next step, you actually have 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you're going to add the Nadeen family reunion card. Again, there's 3 of them. Mix them up. No looking. I don't know what they are. All right, take one of those, add that to that pile, put these in the box, and shuffle these. So you can see we're going to be adding Nadeen Dakkar sometime in the second act. All right, shuffle those up. Those go here. And then your Act 2 goes on top of that. Last but not least, you always start with 6 adventure cards in Act 1. So it doesn't matter what your motive is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've already shuffled these, so I'm not going to mess with that anymore. That goes on top of there, and then of course Act 1 goes on top of that. All right, last but not least, you take 25 cards off this deck. I already shuffled them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Well, I was close to grabbing the right amount. And those go right over here, and these are your adventure deck. Now with the adventure deck, you always start off, well, you start off in this mode with 1 gemstone on top of that. All right, so we've got that done. Nadeen is standing on the sideline over here. He may come in the second act at some point. All right, we've got our draw pile. We've got our adventure pile. Nemo's crew and hull. You always start off with your indicator up here at the beginning. Purple is Nemo, brown is crew, and blue is hull. Next, we have the Nautilus upgrade card. So we already pulled out the science monstrous design. It says gain 1 fewer notoriety per ship token that you sink from a stalk attack, only down to a minimum of 0. A 16-foot long oarfish washed ashore on a Bermuda beach in 1860 and inspired the engineers of the Nautilus to consider altering the appearance of the ship to seem more like a mythological sea monster to camouflage their deeds. So what we are going to do is we're going to start with this in our tableau. All right, let's get rid of these adventure cards. We don't need them anymore. Put those in the box. Thank you very much. We're going to start this in our tableau. How can we do that? We have to pay the cost. The cost for this card is 3. So we have to utilize our ship's resources to pay for this card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1 from the hall. So I'm going to move that down to 1. And I'm going to use 2 from the crew. So that's 3 points for the cost of the card. I'm not going to move Nemo. I could just share it, but as you can see, Nemo's track is shorter than the crew in the hall. If you ever get to the point where you're on these end points, you lose. So we don't want to do that. I'm going to keep Nemo down here. All right, next. So we've got Nautilus upgrade card. Next we can, this is how I play it. There's different ways you can do this, but I'm going to draw the next 4 Nautilus upgrade cards and place them over here in the Nautilus upgrade spot. I have 4 spots. I'll fill those and then place the cards right here if we ever can use them further. We'll go through these more as we play the game. I just wanted to show you how I set them up. You can see you have electric horns. That only costs 1. Crystalline sensors are 3. Electro coil bolts 2. And Nemo's manifesto 1. Again, we'll go through those as we play the game. Next, we have all the world's navies. So you see all our ships over here. What do we do with those? First off, we're going to take our handy dandy ship bag and we're going to put all the yellow ships in the bag. We're going to put all the white ships in the bag. We'll mix that up. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the Deadly Seas expansion. So that's going to add some difficulties and some fun to the game. So right off the bat, we're going to take, I've already shuffled these up a bit, but we'll do it kind of again. I'm going to take 3 randomly and put them in the ship bag as well. So now there's a possibility of drawing those when we draw ships. Set this over here for now. And what do we do next? Well, we're going to start placing these other ships using the Deadly Seas. So first off, this black capital ship goes in this spot here. This black frigate goes here. The red ships go in this. I'm going to randomly choose one of these Deadly Seas to go in that pile as well. Next is the orange ships. I'm going to again pick a Deadly Seas to go in that pile with these orange ships. Now there are 4 orange ones. There's 7 red ones. And now we have the light, I guess they're light orange or darker yellow. I'm going to again put a Deadly Seas here and then add these 4 tokens, these ship tokens there. All right, so now we got that filled out. Next, we're going to do the green and the blue ships. Again, Deadly Seas. So the blue ships go up here in 14. Now what we're doing is we're playing, there's 3 different levels you can play this game. You can play it at the harder level, which is called the captain level. You can play it at the normal level, the officer's level, or a slightly easier level, the sailor level. We are going to play it at the officer's level. So we are going to place the blue ships here. So I'm going to put a Deadly Seas there. And then these 4 blue ships here. As we move along this track, when we get here, those ships will go in the bag. Similarly, down here on turn 20 or notoriety 26, I'm going to grab a random Deadly Seas, put that there, and add the 4 green ships to notoriety level 26. All right, we're almost ready to play, guys. What do we have to do next? Get rid of these 2. Don't look at them. Put those back in the box. All right, we have the Nemo, our Nemo ship, ready to be placed. Hidden ships, next. In all these seas here that have a dark symbol around these ship spots, you need to start the game with a hidden sea ship token. So 2 go in the Western Pacific, 1 goes in the Pacific coast, 2 go in the North Atlantic, get some more, 3 go in the European seas, 1 goes in the Indian Ocean, 1 goes in the South Atlantic, 1 goes in the Eastern Pacific, and 1 goes in the South Pacific down here. So you start with that many hidden ships in the different seas. Some of these other sea areas don't start with any ships, so that's cool. All right, next, treasure tokens. These are your treasure tokens, and I'm going to place them in the handy dandy treasure token bag, I guess. That's what you call it. So all those go in here. I have them stacked nicely. Of course, I'm going to drop them. All right, all those go in the bag there. Shake it up. Put that there. Next, notoriety. Very simple. Notoriety uses this cool pirate symbol. Goes up here on 0. You start at 0. And next we have gemstones on the oceans. We have 1 on the adventure deck, but now you randomly play, well, you don't randomly, I'm sorry. You place these gemstones wherever there is a numbered sea. So Western Pacific, you put 1. North Atlantic, you put 1. European seas, Indian Ocean, Southern Atlantic, and Eastern Pacific. There are different cards and different ways that you can add these gemstones as we play. We'll show you that as we play. All right, what's next on the list? Character resource tokens. We start off down here. Professor Aronnax, Ned Land, Conceal, First Officer, Second Officer, and the Chief Engineer. Got those down there. Of course, Nadeen Dakkar will enter in, well, Act 2. Next, we're going to use these character. Now, some of these rules are optional. These are the rules I'm using. Sorry, I didn't point that out. But I'm going to put these character tokens here in this dish. They say put it in an opaque dish, but I'm not going to, you know, I don't even know what they all are. I'm not going to look. But anyways, these character tokens you can place on the first officer, chief engineer, and second officer. So the chief engineer can get 1 of these character tokens. I'm going to randomly pick 1, and the chief engineer is getting Rogue. You immediately remove and replace with 2 more attributes. Sweet. So I'm going to remove that from the game. That goes in the box. And I get 2 attributes on the chief engineer. That was a very fortuitous draw, Tad. What else do we have here? We have Ready. That adds 1 to the character victory points at the end when you start adding those up, if they're alive. Of course, if we ever utilize them or lose them, you lose these as well. these characteristics. All right, what else do I have here? This says discerning. Remove this, discard, and redraw one treasure. When we collect treasures, you'll see. Yeah, for us, treasures aren't that important. We don't get any specialty from our motive for that. So next, let's draw for the second officer. Second officer gets 2 characteristic tokens. What do I have here? Oh, this one. Sometimes they have things on the back. I should check that out. That one doesn't. That one doesn't. I didn't think so. This one does. So this one has mechanic. It says remove to cancel all hull losses from 1 occasion. That's not bad. On the back it says remove 1 available upgrade card. Ew, don't want to have to flip that over and use that. And he gets 2. Let's draw another one for him. What do you get here? All right, so remove this for -3 notoriety. That's awesome. That's huge. And this one on the back says negotiator, lose 1 of your treasure tokens. So we might want to use that up before we ever have to flip that over. All right, and then last, the first officer gets 1. Randomized drawing. All right, Tad, what do you got in here? Let's grab this one. Nothing on the back. This one says irresistible. Remove for 1 free adventure action. That could be helpful. So you want to utilize these when you can. If you have to, utilize your characters and flip them over, you will lose those if you don't utilize them beforehand. So I've got those. Next, we have the action point. Like I said, I'm going to use the green one. You start with 1 action point. I've got all those cubes in there, the 10 uprising cubes down here. We're almost ready to go, guys. What else am I missing? Oh, you have to place 1 black dice up here on area 44. I've got these here. So you start off the game. You'll see this. I'm going to set, well, these are done. So I'm going to put those back in the box. We will need to add some characteristic tokens to Nadeen when he comes in. So we'll set that over here when he comes in Act 2. Well, I think that's just about it. What else do we need to know real quick before we start playing? Since we are using the science. Let me see here. Oh, pariah and science. So we lose the game if we get to 26 here. It says right here, defeat for pariah and science. So we are using the science motive. If our notoriety ever reaches 26, we are defeated and we lose. That's kind of good because we know we're never going to get these green chips in the bag. Because once we hit there, we lose the game. So that's it for the setup. Let's draw the first card. Oh, first we have to draw the first card. And it's always, of course, Act 1. Watch out there. So, Act 1. The facts relating to this apparition, entered in various logbooks, agreed in most respects as to the shape of the object or creature in question, the untiring rapidity of its movements, its surprising power of locomotion, and the peculiar life with which it seemed endowed. If it was a whale, it surpassed in size all those hitherto classified in science. So for Act 1, when we roll, we utilize 2 white dice. Put those here. Keep the other ones on the side. Roll a die and place the Nautilus in the corresponding sea. All right, I'm going to roll 1 die and 3. So the Nautilus is going to start here in the North Atlantic. Commence play with the next card. All right, what's the next card? Roll only 2 white dice to begin each placement phase. All right, let's set that aside down here. And we're ready to play, guys. And I think what I'm going to do is it's going to probably be a couple videos. I don't want each video to be tremendously too long. I mean, we're looking probably at an hour, maybe a video, depending on how fast we go through each act. I may have to split every video up to, the 3 different acts. But I hope you enjoyed the setup, and I hope you follow me while we play through Nemo's War, the Ultimate Edition, with Nadeen Dakkar when he enters in the second act. All right, let's get started.